What about, is there anything specifically you would say about Rett, if you had a family with a new Rett diagnosis?
Yeah, so I mean, our road to finding out about a Rett diagnosis, it took a little while. It's not something that, it's not the first thing that people check. And for a lot of families, it takes a while before you get to that diagnosis. And then you go look it up on Wikipedia, and it sounds terrible. And I mean, it is, as far as disabilities go, it's pretty not awesome. I mean, I think anytime with a diagnosis like that, it's not something that you want. It's not something you're excited about. It typically seems like, at least for Rett syndrome, it's a long journey to get to that point. And there's a lot of bumps along the way. And so by the time you get there, it's a little bit exhausting and a little bit relieving at the same time. But again, it's that feeling of loneliness. There's not a lot of people that can relate to where you're at. One of the best pieces of advice that we got from actually our daughter's neurologist was when after something like that happens, you as a couple are going to be experiencing downtimes or struggles at different points. And you may feel really good one day and they feel really bad, and you need to be patient and sort of be gentle with each other as far as emotionally that goes, because it's difficult, and we can be a support to each other. And I think that applies not just to husband and wife of a child with a disability, but any community that sort of grows up around a communicator that gets a diagnosis like this, or that's struggling. We can be a help to each other. We as humans are really good, it turns out, at building these communities. That's how we've been able to grow beyond just taking care of ourselves, and to have so many of the the gifts that we have now in this world. And so finding ways to build that community and to tap into that community, whether it's online or the people around us, can be a great strength. And we shouldn't be afraid of it. We should look for ways to latch on.
That's awesome. Rather than, I know I've seen some parents that kind of go through this period of not really wanting to engage, in that community. And, one thing I've had a parent tell me too is that they don't want to get into an arena where it just kind of becomes war stories, so maybe finding a positive community.
And there totally are those communities. When we first got the diagnosis, we went to this, there was a Rett family dinner or something, and it was all these families of all these girls with Rett syndrome, and where we were at mentally, it was super depressing, right? I mean, it was like, why do I want to hang out with these people? Like, this is just a sad thing for me, and I don't want to be here. And there are ways to have uplifting communities, and I think we're in a very different situation now than we were. But there are some very positive support groups that you can find that aren't just about war stories, but a place where you can ask questions and where you can find some reinforcement emotionally.
Great.